The Book of Revelation, Chapter 8. Revelation 8:1. Silence in heaven. The Lamb opened the seventh seal judgment, and there was silence. The only time in recorded history that heaven is silent, and the silence lasts for 30 minutes. The number 30 symbolizes mourning. For 30 days, Israel mourned for Aaron in Numbers 20:29, and they mourned for Moses, Deuteronomy 34:8. Revelation 8:2, Trumpets given. The seven seal judgment contains the seven trumpet judgments. This is like Joshua's conquest of Jericho in Joshua 6:1-20. At Jericho, there were 7 priests who blew 7 trumpets. Now we have 7 angels blowing 7 trumpets. Trumpets were used to summon the nation to assemble, to call soldiers to prepare for war, and to signal the start of festivals. Revelation 8:3-4. Prayers ascending. Some interpreters believe this angel is Christ. However, there is no indicator that this is true. The saints are likely tribulation believers who are most likely going through difficult times. In Leviticus 16:12-18, the high priest would use incense to symbolize the prayers of the people. Revelation 8:5, the fiery judgment. The last thing to happen before the trumpet judgments. The angel with a censer represents prayers offered to God. Fire represents judgment, and the altar represents sacrifice. More significantly, Jesus' sacrifice. Thunder and lightning often symbolizes God's power and majesty, and also God's anger. God heard his people's prayers and is now moving into action. Revelation 8:6, the trumpets prepared. The seventh seal judgment is 7 angels blowing 7 trumpets, which are 7 more judgments. As a reminder, 7 is the number of completion and perfection, such as the 7th day God rested. Preparation is needed before we can accomplish God's will. Revelation 8:7, the first trumpet. Some interpreters think that the earth is referencing Israel. However, most believe this will impact the whole world. Hail and fire are often symbolized as destruction. In Exodus 9:23-25, the 4th plague was hail and lightning, and it caused significant destruction. In Joshua 10:11, hail was used to destroy the Amorites. It is reasonable to expect that this judgment, like what happened in Exodus 9, will be literal. This could possibly be a meteor shower. Like the number 7, the number 3 is often a number symbolizing completeness. But 3rd is most likely not a precise measurement and could symbolize a significant amount of destruction, but not complete destruction. The 1/3 of the trees and a 1/3 of the grass could be literal plant life, but some interpreters who think that the earth symbolizes Israel, they think that the trees represent strong apostate leaders and that the grass represents a weak spiritual nation. They use Isaiah 2:13 and Isaiah 40:6-7 as support for this claim. In Genesis 1:11-12, plant life was the first to be created, and here it could be the first to be destroyed, supporting that it is most likely literal plant life. Revelation 8:8-9, the second trumpet. Again, there are similarities to the plagues in Exodus. In Exodus 7:14-22, the first of the 10 plagues where the river turned into blood. Just as God punished the Pharaoh of Egypt for the wicked he had done against God's people, he will do so again against the beast of the revived Roman Empire. The burning mountain could be a meteor or a volcanic eruption. Blood symbolizes the death and destruction of the oceans. There may even be a chemical or mineral effect that turns the oceans red. There may also be a weather-related event that would sink a third of the ships. Revelation 8:10-11. The third trumpet. We have another large falling object, and again impacting the waters of earth, except this time, instead of it impacting the sea water found in the second trumpet, it is impacting the fresh water of earth. The Great Lakes in the United States holds more than a fifth of the world's surface fresh water. This loss alone would impact the world. Wormwood is only mentioned once in the New Testament, and it's mentioned 8 times in the Old Testament. Every time wormwood is used in the Old Testament, it symbolizes bitterness, poison, and death. A third of the fresh water will be impacted. Revelation 8:12-13, the fourth trumpet. Another connection to Exodus. This is like the 9th plague in Egypt, where Egypt was in complete darkness for 3 days. Exodus 10:21-23. Instead of complete darkness, a third of the naturally occurring lights are darkened. This impacts crops, solar power, the climate, and energy use. The eagle is translated as angel in the King James Version, but most English translations agree that it is eagle. Eagles often symbolize freedom, strength, and power. In Deuteronomy 32:11, God is like an eagle caring for his nest. Angels are associated with being messengers of God. Where the first 3 trumpet judgments had silence before they happened, the next 3 judgments are preceded by a loud warning. Light often symbolizes knowledge, hope, salvation, and God's presence. Darkness could represent the opposite, symbolizing ignorance, hopelessness, judgment, and God's absence. This is God's judgment on a sinful world. Sin and evil must be judged and punished, or God is neither good nor a good judge. The trumpet judgments mirror many of the plagues against Egypt in the book of Exodus. This repetition shows that God's methods of judgment are consistent and purposeful. This shows us that God frees his people and judges the oppressors. Just as God brought judgment upon Egypt, he will bring it upon the sinful world, showing his control over creation and history. He is the good judge.